Another weekend of college football in the books, PK. Got a question up on our Facebook page. Utah beats Baylor to continue a streak of crushing teams. The Utes actually going to pull it off. Patrick, I love my Utes, but no.
I would love to see them get a chance.
Cameron, they need a lot of upsets to happen.
One big one.
Cincinnati?
Yeah.
Have you figured it out? Would they win? Would they win the tiebreaker? Would that get them in?
It depends then.
It gives them a chance to climb in the college football playoff rankings, for sure. That should get them a spot.
It depends on, is it a two-way tie or of three or more?
Yeah. It looks like it's going to be more, right? We are joined now by Shehan Jeyarajah, CBS Sports National College Football writer. Shehan, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Did you expect more upsets this weekend? This was pretty much by the book, except that Oklahoma went in and beat Alabama, and that isn't really what BYU and Utah wanted. Everybody who's 11 through 15 is like, Alabama, come through for us, and they didn't.
I know, right? Like that was probably the one that I least expected, just because Oklahoma has really struggled on offense this year. But I guess when you start with the ball three times in opposing territory, like you just make things happen. I'll tell you what, there might not be a more valuable player in the SEC this year than Oklahoma's kicker Tate Sandell. He has been absolute money in some of these games. He basically single-handedly won them that Tennessee game too. We're doing our second All-America call next week. I think we're going to have a long conversation about him.
What does it do to Alabama?
Yeah, I think that when you look at Alabama, they have enough quality wins that I don't think this is going to put them in danger as yet. Now, again, they come into the week at number 4. This is their second loss, but again, they have Vanderbilt. They have, of course, the Georgia win. They have Tennessee. They have Missouri, even though Missouri's kind of fallen off. I think it's going to be enough that they still probably stay in that 8 to 9 range, and they're still only a 2-loss SEC team. I think that a 10-2 SEC team is generally going to be in very good shape, but it does mean that the road trip to Jordan-Hare Stadium is to play Auburn. That is going to be absolutely the kind of game that could knock them out of the playoff if they lose.
Yeah, 2-loss SEC team is generally going to be in shape. I think you said that to give yourself an out if I brought up Vanderbilt, because they're sitting there at 2 losses, and they're thinking, what have we got to do to leapfrog Utah and BYU and Oklahoma and get in ourselves?
Yeah, well, listen, there's individual moments where sort of the brand works against you too, even if you're an SEC team. But I think the big issue with Vanderbilt is they just don't have any wins that matter. Because again, Missouri's fallen off, LSU has collapsed. South Carolina looks like it might be a good win. It's nothing now. So they're going to play Tennessee, and that's going to mean something, but I don't know that it's going to mean enough, especially when, again, you have a BYU team that's beaten number 13 Utah, when you have a Utah team that analytically is right now, rated as one of the top 6 or 7 teams in college football. So I think that they're in rough shape, and it's just kind of the way that the schedule laid out for them. And some of the, again, if Missouri is still number 18 in the country or something, I think that this changes the way that we're looking at this Vandy team, but they're not.
If SC beats Oregon, which is obviously a tall task, does that mean 4 in for the Big Ten?
I don't necessarily think so, because I think that USC still has a lot of work and a lot of space to make up. This is a team that still lost to Illinois earlier this year. They got beat by double digits by Notre Dame. Obviously, an Oregon win would be really important, especially after beating Iowa last week and handling Michigan earlier this year. But so let's just say, right, if Oregon loses, I think that they are out, just because, again, their schedule hasn't necessarily shaped up the way that they may have liked. So let's just say that happens. I think they're out. I think that BYU would still be higher priority than USC, and BYU, by the way, probably needs some help right now to kind of get that last spot in after Oklahoma's win. And so, again, I think that as a one-loss team with a top 15 victory, I think that they would still be ahead of USC at that point. Now, I think that USC then gets into a conversation with Utah. Utah, again, rates analytically a bit higher. USC would have 3 top, 25 victories at that point. I think that USC might move ahead of Utah, but I don't think that they would move ahead of BYU at this point.
These are a lot of 2-loss teams we're talking about here, and 2 losses used to get you knocked out of the 14 playoff under the theory. Well, and I know there are a couple exceptions, and LSU won it all in the BCS era. But it's like, well, if you lost twice, you're not going to be the national champ. If they expand the playoffs to 16, the teams then that are getting in are the teams we're just talking about. All of a sudden, BYU and Vanderbilt and Utah would all be sitting in. But they'd be matched up with Ohio State, Indiana, and Texas A&M. Are those games anybody would want to watch, or as they think about expanding this, do they think those games will be blowouts? What are we doing here? We ought to stay at 12. Or the lure of, even if it's a bad game, we're going to get paid for it because people will watch it, so what the heck?
Well, I'll tell you what. I think that last year, of course, we kind of had this run of kind of dominant teams in the 5 through 8 spot in the playoff. But I kind of don't think that that's going to be the case going forward, or maybe even this year. Like, is Texas A&M going to be able to totally put the hammer down on a very good team? Like, maybe, maybe not. I think that some of these games, like, again, if you put, let's say, Texas A&M against Utah or something like that. Well, I really like what Utah does defensively. I think that they might be able to cause some problems for Texas A&M's offense, and I think that their rushing offense is something unlike what they've seen. I think the same for an Indiana or something like that. Like, so I think that people are a little skewed because they saw one playoff, and that a lot of aspects of that one playoff didn't go very well. I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case this year even, right? Because again, Vanderbilt's played teams that are going to be in the playoffs, including Alabama, and they hung around. They were very competitive in those games. So I think that again, we're moving to a point, and I'll by the way throw Ohio State as an exception. I think that Ohio State might just beat everybody by a lot, just like they did last year. But I do think that the gap between the top 5 and the top 15 is probably shrinking to a place that's smaller than it's been in a very long time.
The media keeps asking Kalani Sitake about the so-called style points, and he just keeps blowing it off every time. Winning is the style points. That's all I'm concerned about. Is that an outdated philosophy? Because you look at Utah and the metrics and the analytics, love them, and part of the reason is because they keep beating the snot out of everybody.
Yes, I do think it's outdated to a large extent. Now, again, like, he's a head coach, and the thing that he's primarily worried about is winning the football game by 1 point. But I think that what you have to look at if you're Kalani Sitake is that, one, the committee, and two, of course, public perception and even AP voters and all this sort of stuff, like, they do evaluate these advanced metrics. And they do, again, if you want to talk about Vegas lines and all this sort of stuff. And a lot of that modeling is done by, sort of these power ratings. And it's done by how you handle business. The game that I keep going back to is the BYU West Virginia game. BYU was beating the absolute crap out of West Virginia. And then they kind of just, stopped playing. So nominally, it was only a 14-point win against West Virginia. And it's like, dude, they could have beat that team by 40 points. They could have been dominant every single play, every single drive, and destroyed them. But they just didn't. And I'm not saying that you have to, be running, verts while up 40 in the fourth quarter by any means. But I think that there's something to be said for being able to truly put a game away. Now I'll give them credit. Against TCU this past week, they did it. That's the effort that I want to see for 4 quarters from BYU every single week. Because I'll also say, let's look back at the 2024 season as well. They kind of lost 2 games because they let teams hang around just a little bit too long. Now, 2 good teams, but still, if you put some of these games away earlier and you truly drop the hammer, and by the way, I think you have an offense that has shown the ability to do that, I think that it just puts you in a much better perception, both from an analytic perspective, which, I understand that coaches might not love that, but it's part of the equation. And I think also from a public perception perspective.
Looking at the slate of games coming up this weekend, at number 1, Ohio State's playing Rutgers. Number 2, Indiana's on a bye. Number 3, Texas A&M's playing Samford. Georgia's number 5. They're playing Charlotte. Eastern Illinois is at number 4, Alabama. Texas Tech is on a bye. At some point, for all the alleged control the TV networks have, and maybe the SEC going to 9 games will help this to a degree, but it seems pretty late in the season to have such a weak schedule.
Well, down here in in SEC country, we call it SoCon Saturday, right? Because everybody in the SEC just picks up an FCS game and plays it later in the year instead of earlier. And by the way, I'll actually primarily be out this weekend because my friend's getting married, and I was like, you know what? If you're going to do a fall wedding, it's a pretty good time for you to do it. But it's interesting, right? I mean, like you said, Oregon USC is kind of the only good game on the schedule. I mean, BYU Cincinnati is not a bad game. There's some games that aren't bad, but there's really not very many marquee matchups. And actually, this is one thing that's interesting. When you talk about the Big 12 has kind of avoided putting their huge games on, or their huge rivalry games on rivalry weekends. And this is one of the reasons that I actually get it, because I think that there is something to the idea of hey, you know what, people get so distracted. And I think that last week of the season gets so overstuffed with big-time games. I think that, if you spread things out, it can actually put you in a decent position. I would love for a big game to be this weekend in the Big 12. I mean, not that it has to be BYU Utah or something, but I think that I don't know. I mean, even if you want to put Baylor TCU on a weekend like this, if you want to put Iowa State Kansas State on a weekend like this, I think that, again, you have to kind of look for ebbs and flows in the calendar to a large extent, and this is definitely one of those ebbs.
You just mentioned Baylor there. That seems like a crazy situation with the athletic director being the chair of the committee, and now he's off, and he's on leave or whatever it might be, and Aranda seems like he's fighting for his job. What do you think's happening there?
Nothing good, I can promise you that. But, so it's an interesting situation. So, of course, the athletic director, Mac Rhodes, is technically on personal leave. I've been told essentially that's a formality, that they're looking and kind of getting their ducks in a row to most likely try to fire him for cause or do a settlement. I don't expect him back as the athletic director at Baylor. And I think that this creates a really, really complicated situation for the university, because here's the reality, right? So the timeline that they've given for investigation all to be done is 28 days. Well, that puts you in the middle of December, after the coaching carousel is well underway. This was always going to be a busy carousel. Now, I feel like if Baylor comes into the market with everybody else, I think they'd be in decent shape. If you're coming to the market behind everybody else, I think that changes the calculus quite a bit. And so it turns into a situation of, okay, well, have you forced yourself into a position where you almost can't fire your head coach? Now, I mean, they played Utah last week, of course, and they got absolutely decimated. And by the way, I thought that, one, Utah I don't think even played that well, and two, I thought that Baylor actually did some things that weren't bad, and it was still a 27-point loss at home on Senior Day. And then they this wasn't Senior Day, Houston Senior Day, but then they go on the road to play Arizona, who, by the way, looks really good too. Then you close with Houston at home. That's a game against an in-state team, against a second-year coaching staff that is a team that is better than you. So if they lose out and they miss a bowl game, I just don't think you can bring them back. And I know that you have to go through your athletic director process, but you're just going to have to find a way to do that in as quick a fashion as possible, because I just look at what's happening right now with that football team. For a team that was projected to maybe contend for the Big 12, I mean, it's pathetic what they're doing up there.
There are plenty of coaches forced to go out and say things. Kiffin, I love Ole Miss, and Dillingham reaffirms commitment to Arizona State. Do you buy all that? Should these guys be put in this position? Does it matter what should happen? Welcome to college football and big business. It is what it is. Are you buying these guys when they say they're at least hinting or implying they're staying put?
Well, this is, we have done a sort of a segment on one of our old podcasts that we call Coach Speak Translator, and this is one of those moments where you got to translate Coach Speak, right? For Lane Kiffin, it's, we're very happy here, we love it here, right? Well, what he didn't say is, I am staying here. Whereas with, when you look at specifically, let's say, Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State and Brent Key at Georgia Tech, they are much more specific about what they want and why they like it here. So, for example, Kenny Dillingham's like, dude, I grew up here. I went to school here. My sister's my neighbor. My parents live 3 houses down. Like, why would I ever want to leave? I want to push this place to be the best that it can be. For Brent Key, he says, cut me open and see what colors I bleed. I'm Georgia Tech through and through. Like, that's different than saying we're very happy here and we love it here. Those are different statements. So, again, it's little nuances, certainly. And look, I mean, there have been many cases of coaches, claiming that they're going to be brought out from here in a pine box and then leaving the very next week for another job. But I think that when you look at the specificity and fervency of Kenny Dillingham and Brent Key compared to Lane Kiffin, I think that says a lot about it. And by the way, one other thing I'll say too is that I think that something that's discussed but maybe not understood enough is like some of the way that these processes are handled too depends a lot on your agent as well. And I mean, for example, let's say hypothetically that Lane Kiffin does not want to go anywhere and plans to stay at Ole Miss long term. Well, his agency is very much one who is willing to use leverage in a way that some agents don't to the same extent. And even if he wants to stay there, I could see them dragging this out to the end of the year so that they get the absolute most possible from Ole Miss. So, again, you always have to kind of weigh all the dynamics at play, but I would be shocked if Kenny Dillingham or Brent Key left their jobs. I would not be shocked based on what he said if Lane Kiffin did.
As an ASU grad, if Dillingham leaves, I would lose all faith in humanity for the rest of my life.
I think that's a good way to think about it. I really think, because again, here's the thing too, and this is a big picture dynamic about college athletics in this moment that I actually think is fascinating, which is no matter where you are, if you are at, let's call it a middle class to upper middle class power conference program, like the grass isn't necessarily greener on other places. Like there are places that, if Kenny Dillingham left Arizona State, I think he's making 7 right now. Like maybe he could get to 9, but then it's a situation of like, okay, well, you're also just realistically probably going to be looking for a job in 3 or 4 years just because of the way of the world.
Yeah.
Whereas at Arizona State, you're going to, if he wants to stay there 10 years, I think he's going to have that ability just because of the support that he's got. And the other thing too is that with rev share and all this sort of stuff, like you can actually build something really competitive and have a very legitimate path to the college football playoff, to contending for titles. Now, there are certain programs where, again, LSU is one of them for me, where it's like, okay, well, yeah, like at that job, not only could you have a championship roster, you will. It's essentially guaranteed because it's LSU with the way that they have ties to the state of Louisiana. But again, it's we'll kind of see what happens. But this is the thing for me with Lane Kiffin with Florida is Florida is a better job than Ole Miss. There's zero doubt about it. Is it in the LSU tier of you're guaranteed to have championship level talent? This is a program that hasn't won an SEC championship since 2008, right? Like this is not necessarily one of the guaranteed jobs. And so I do think that becomes an interesting situation. If you're Kenny Dillingham and you're in a fantastic position at Arizona State, or you made the playoff and you were very close to winning a playoff game and you're only getting started, is it necessarily a huge step up to go to Florida and, be at a place where you don't necessarily know that you can accomplish more than that?
We're not gamblers. We don't pretend to be good at this stuff, but we were both surprised that BYU was a 1.5-point favorite at Cincinnati. I thought 7-10. PK was guessing 8-9. We're kind of in the same ballpark there. Cincinnati's lost back-to-back games, just beaten by Arizona after getting blown out at Utah. Do you think they can plant their feet, take a stand, that kind of stuff, and salvage things and beat BYU, or is this a Cougars again, and BYU gets to 10-1.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad we're kind of circling back to what we talked about at the start of this, which is I think that BYU is undervalued because of the way that they play and their style of play and the fact that they don't just put games away. Well, I think that going on the road to play a very good Cincinnati team, I think that BYU is going to come out and pummel them. I think that they understand the magnitude of this moment. I loved that against a not bad TCU defense, like they were like, Bear Bachmeier, go and do your thing. We got to free you, because the reality is we're probably going to play Texas Tech again in the Big 12 title game, and you need to be ready for that moment. I think that they're going to really attack that secondary. I think that they're going to physically beat up Cincinnati. Cincinnati's really good in the trench, especially on the offensive line, but I think that BYU's front will be able to cause a lot of issues for them. So, no, I think, like you said, it should be more like a 7-point line. And on top of that, I would take them to easily cover as well. I think it's going to be a 2-score game.
Sean, we appreciate it as always. Great to talk to you, and we will talk to you again next week.
Thank you so much for having me.
Shehan Jeyarajah, join us right here, CBS Sports National College Football writer. And while BYU goes to Cincinnati, Utah will be hosting Kansas State. K-State gives up 150 yards a game on the ground, PK. Gosh, what do you think will happen?
They'll just stuff Utah at the line of scrimmage, a la Texas Tech.
No, you don't. Utah for 300-plus again. That's what's going to happen.
There goes Fick.
There he goes.
Fick's the pick, and he's sick.
Now we know what makes you tick.
Right.
When we come back, everything you missed in this show next. Stay with us.
Whirls around and down.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone is your exclusive home of the Utah Jazz. And we want to send you to the Delta Center to see the Jazz in action. Listen every Tuesday for the Jazz Ticket Tuesday Sounder at 30 past the hour, every hour, all day long. And if you're caller number 12, you'll be on your way to an upcoming game.
Buy one, you'll get one free.
It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday, every Tuesday throughout the NBA season on your radio home for the Utah Jazz. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Slacker Radio Headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 801-210-6800 or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. BYU wins big. Utah wins big. Utah State lets it slip through their fingers at the end of regulation. And again, in the first overtime session, we had Bronco on this morning. And as he pointed out, that one's going to leave a mark.
That was devastating.
It really was.
My goodness gracious, man. And don't take your foot off the gas. I don't care that he'd made 10 in a row. He was struggling.
He was. Missed one early, then he missed an extra point. Then he missed another one at the end of regulation.
I'm watching the game, obviously. I go right back to Faldo. You hit one bad shot, you lose your confidence.
Yeah.
He just said that to us, or to me, and we played it on the air, 3 weeks ago?
Yep.
2 weeks ago? Whatever it was. Here's a guy at that level talking about players losing their confidence on hitting a couple of bad shots. Well, how could you not if you're a kicker?
And when Nick Faldo said that, I didn't have the impression he was talking about the 81st best guy on tour, which is the 81st best guy in the world, which is amazing. He's talking about himself and his friends, many of whom also won major championships.
Yeah.
He's talking about the most accomplished golfers this side of Tiger Woods.
I thought they should have. Don't go crazy.
I thought they were going to run Barnes again. And I know they were running him, but when you're trying to win the game.
Well, it didn't seem like they were trying to advance the ball.
No, I get it. But, like, you can be conservative because you want to risk the turnover. I get that. And run Barnes, and those plays have been devastating them.
Yeah, I think they felt like he was a little out of gas.
Yeah, I get it.
But there's other guys. You got Miles Davis.
You could have brought him in and run him,
You throw a screen. I love the screen to the tight end.
Yeah? That's your new favorite play?
No, I've loved it for years.
Oh, okay.
I've told my guy down south at the high school team, run the screen to the tight end. Works every time. Because tight ends these days are very mobile and athletic.
Yeah. They're a matchup nightmare.
Yeah. I didn't get it. They didn't try, and I just got a bad feeling sitting on my couch.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Meanwhile, sitting on the couch watching the Utes, you're like, everybody knows what's coming, and they are powerless to stop it.
Yeah. Is Fick this good?
Apparently. I don't know what else to tell you. I haven't seen anything yet. You say, okay, he's a backup freshman. He can't be this good. But literally every snap you've seen him play, he's been that good. So why wouldn't we believe what we've seen? Other than we watched a lot of football, and he looks like a skinny freshman. And skinny freshmen don't usually dominate. But it seems like every time he takes a snap, he's doing something awesome.
I'm buying his jersey.
Okay, there you go.
What's his number? 15? Fick. The Fick man. The Fixter. Fick-a-doodly-doo.
And then after you were done watching the Utes demolish Baylor, you watched BYU demolish TCU. It's like watching the same game all over again. Hey, look, this one's over at halftime too.
Yeah, in terms of the game, but they do a little bit different. They throw the ball more.
Yeah.
So, for
and
sure.
And Bachmeier threw it for almost 300 yards. A little under.
The young freshman.
Which sounds redundant, but, there've been enough.
You never know with BYU.
No, there've been enough gray-shirted return missionaries. Yeah.
But, yeah, and now they got the game of their lives at hand. That's what's cool about it, is if you're good, every game then gets bigger.
Yeah, that's why I hate it when someone says you can't win the big game. Well, you want a big game to set up the big game, to set up a bigger game, to set up another big game.
But you got to win the big game. This is the big game. This is the big game, man. Everything is at stake. This is exactly what they had last year in Tempe, is it not? It's exactly. The situation is literally the exact same.
If you win.
Yes.
I feel like I've said this before.
Now, I think the Devils were a better team than Cincinnati is right now.
It does feel
Very
like
clearly.
the Devils were much more – last year's Devils are more this year's Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Whereas last year it was the home loss to Kansas that was the issue.
Totally agree. Yeah. I mean, last year, hand it to an NFL back, throw it to an NFL receiver. Duh. In fact, the guy has had to coach way more this year than he did last year.
This Cincinnati team, even with the back-to-back losses, is better than that Kansas team. And it'll be a road game, not a home game.
Yeah, at that time, Kansas was hot. But nevertheless, you can go back and forth. Cincinnati is a worthy opponent. If it were at the Ed, at LES, I'd feel more confident. But I feel confident BYU can do. But it's funny now, you go literally the exact same situation. And I get the Tech losses, but you didn't compete to the level that you can against Tech. But you're going in there with one loss next to the last week of season on the road.
9-1 on the road.
It's amazing.
Got to win this game.
Yeah. You win it.
It is the two-time zone. It is the two-time zone travel. I don't like that. There's lots of examples of that.
That's why if I'm them, tomorrow, I fly to Missouri.
To Missouri?
Yeah.
Okay.
Spend a couple of days there.
Uh-huh.
So then when you go to Cincinnati,
short trip.
It's only a one-time zone. It's not two. You got to think outside the box. And if I want on my tombstone, which is coming very quickly here, he thought outside the box. Come on.
But now he's inside the box.
Literally.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of a little play. Nobody ever does that. If you want to eliminate the two-time zone deal, just fly someplace else where it's Central Time Zone. And yuck.
You've been to a lot of Central Time
Don't
zones.
they have a big thing in Missouri going on there? Don't they own Branson?
Branson? No, they don't own Branson.
Don't they kind of? Don't the Osmonds perform there?
They own a lot of land out a place called Adam on Diamond.
That right next to Independence? I read up on this stuff.
Independence, Missouri.
He's mixing and matching popular stories.
Well, no, he's working it, yeah.
I know.
Well, I'm ballpark.
They go to
I'm in the ballpark. I don't have exactly.
Hey, they go to Dolly World. Yeah, hey, do your
So
thing.
you go
Where's
to
Dolly
Branson.
World?
In Branson,
Oh,
I
it
think,
is?
yeah.
Okay. I thought it could have been in Nashville.
No, that's Dolly World too. It's
We're talking about Missouri, not
Disneyland,
Tennessee
Disney World.
here.
Yeah, we're talking about
You
Missouri,
ever
not
heard
Tennessee.
of free association on this show?
No, not from you. Not from you. No, he hasn't.
there's one person.
Stay in your lane.
But I thought maybe.
No, there's one person on this show who gets this.
So think it. They go to,
latitude.
and then you don't have to worry about them doing any funny stuff. You have them go to a couple shows at night.
Well, okay, here's the thing, PK. Why don't we just change it a little bit? Because technically, the Cincinnati airport's in Kentucky. So why don't you just go down to like Louisville and hang out?
Whoa.
Louisville.
Louisville.
Yeah, but are we sure Louisville is in Central Time Zone?
It's not, but
No, well then no, that screws it up.
okay, then just go to
No, go to freaking Branson. It's Central Time Zone.
Okay.
You relax there, you prepare for the game, and then you only have to make one time zone
don't you-
change.
why don't you go to
It
Kansas-
makes total sense.
Go to Kansas
Get
City.
Reese on the line right now.
go to Kansas
Other
City and hang
things-
out with Andy Reid.
Other things
He's busy.
Other things we've talked about in this show. He says.
I'm trying to help the Cougars. I've dedicated my entire professional life to helping the Cougars.
Nah, I don't think they feel like that.
Well, they should. Now, give me some stats. What do you got?
Whole weekend of NFL action. You learn anything important? You watch the Bills and the Bucks. The Bills with their back up against the wall, like the Chiefs. So the Chiefs are on the road against a better team.
I watched that entire game, and that was a phenomenal game by the Bills. I think the Bills, not that they're on cruise control, but they know their success is judged wholly, that's with a WH, one of those fancy words, on postseason success. Because you've been there and you've been on the verge, the doorstep, the brink of a childhood dream, if you will. And now you must open the door and storm in. In the very last season, you'll be playing in whatever that stadium's name is.
Okay.
Well, they change it.
Levi Stadium?
I don't know what it is.
Whatever it is in
Levi,
San
what do you-
Francisco.
Oh, okay. No, I think
I
it's.
thought you were talking about the Super Bowl in the last game of the year.
Yeah. No, I'm talking the Bills. This is I think they're getting a new stadium next year.
They are.
Right. And so for them, you got to have success. And if KC's out of the way, well, then there ain't no excuse.
Except the Bills' defense isn't good. They just gave up a
Look at Cole
gazillion yards.
Bishop picking off passes left and right. What are you talking about? The defense isn't very good. How dare you disrespect Cole Bishop? Guy's from Atlanta. Came all the way out here. 3 years, 2 Rose Bowl appearances. I'm out of here. What was he, like a second-round pick, something like that?
Sean Tucker ran for 100 yards, and Tampa Bay ran for 200 yards.
Tampa Bay's a good team.
Okay, but they're going to see good teams in the playoffs.
Right. And so score more points, and you're good to go. Just like they did yesterday. I rest my case, you toilet face.
Going to see Derrick Henry in the playoffs, so that'll be a problem. See Jonathan Taylor in the playoffs, will that be a problem?
Well, anybody who makes the playoffs ought to be a problem. That's why they're in the playoffs.
There's some pretty good running backs, pretty good running attacks. Denver can run the ball.
So this just in, the Bills are not a perfect team.
I know, but to have that particular problem in the playoffs, you're terrible against the run.
What do you want? The steel curtain combined with the 80, whatever it was, 5 Bears?
Well, that would be
And
awesome.
throw in the fearsome foursome coming off the bench?
That would be awesome, but also not giving up 200 yards a game on the ground. Missed a great quote from Kyle Whittingham. Do we have that? Do you have that handy, Yak? That quote
How's
where
he
he
know?
talks about the 400 yards
You got that
passing.
quote handy?
Yeah, which quote?
The one I'm telling you right now, the 400-yard passing quote.
Give me a second.
Okay.
But it's a great quote. You got that quote handy?
There's only
you
like
didn't tell him the
15 of
quote.
them.
You got to tell him the quote, then ask if he's.
Perhaps
you
if
were
I hadn't
totally
been
out of
interrupted, I would have
sequence.
gotten there.
Nobody interrupted.
Yes, you
We
did.
interrupted because you were. No, this ain't you and your soccer.
That's exactly what it is. That's
manifesto.
exactly what I was thinking. See, now he's got it because he did have it handy.
Right, because I was stolen to
So
help
this is
out a
Ya-
brother.
This is Yak.
You got that quote?
I was about to explain.
I need to talk to you about that thing. It's like the Sopranos. They could never when they're on a public telephone. You know that thing? Yeah, the thing. You know that thing.
The thing. Kyle Whittingham, after the win on the road.
Didn't have our best outing defensively as far as yardage given up, but passing yards are different than rushing yards. If you throw for over 400, you have less than a 50-50 chance to win. That's statistically proven. And so, just proud of the way that the whole team hung in there. Bird Ficklin was probably the biggest catalyst for us when we needed it. He provided 2 huge runs for us, and the guy's just a really good football player.
So, you throw over 400 yards, you lose. So, bleep you, and you.
Fact.
I wanted him to finish it. Argue with a wall.
Yeah. You want to go look at the stats? Let's go right now.
Because he's looked at him.
Joe, tough guy.
He's looked at all of them.
I think you're smarter than the analytics.
It did bring that back, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was taunting the media. That's why I don't like the guy.
Why do you do that?
What do you mean, why do I do it?
You know exactly
Speak
what I
the truth? Because I was born to espouse truth. Put that on my tombstone. He was born to espouse truth.
Michael Penix, potential, going to get a second opinion, potentially season-ending knee
You're
injury.
ugly too, I'll tell you.
And we haven't heard yet about Aaron Rodgers and his wrist. Looked bad. We'll see if it's a fracture, and if so, how long that'll keep him out. And your Utah Jazz in double overtime despite a technical on the ball boy.
That was bleeping bleep.
That really was.
Will, please, come on.
It's a close game. He's fighting for a win, and the ref's out there teeing up the ball boy. That's delay of game. The ball boy was wiping up sweat. How is that delay of game?
Well, yeah, but you throw tortillas, they give you a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct
Nobody
penalty.
threw a tortilla.
Right, but they say if you do, so now somebody did, in a sense, boom, we tee you up.
Because the players sweat on the floor?
Yeah, but
you have to identify whose sweat it is.
They give you penalties. You hear it in basketball. Don't throw stuff, or we're going to get a tackle. So, yeah, you're the home team. Control the kid.
Mop up the sweat faster. But there's humidity in here, Coach. I don't think I'd seen anything like that before. I was pretty out of left field. But they won the game anyway.
Just, man, kill the sound. On the Sabbath, I had to hear that.
You did. You did.
Of all the days.
It's pretty loud.
Whew. Man.
That was bleep and bleep bleep.
Will.
Was.
Where there's a will, there's a swear word. Remember when Mitchell, coming off the court, swore something, and then they banned the media from there?
That part of the hallway's off limits.
So to eliminate this, no more games will be televised.
Take them off TV. We're done.
Also, no one can buy expensive seats in the first 12 rows because they heard it too.
Well, they're used to hearing it. They've heard it for 30, 40 years.
Yeah. That's why they pay for it. They want to hear it.
Yeah.
5 wins for the Jazz now. They're sitting in the 10th spot. You ready for a play-in game? Can they hold it? Can they hold off the Clippers and the Grizzlies?
That's what I need. Teams, the playing. It's just created so much excitement at the end of the season, said people who are paid by the NBA. So much excitement to see these teams that are under 500 getting into the postseason. That's what it's all about. Achieve greatness.
Jazz are 4-3 at home. They're going on the road. They've been a bad road team. So I assume it'll be different in Tuesday in L.A. It was Frank Layden night. Frank Layden had the quote a long time ago, learn to win at home, learn to win on the road, learn to win in the playoffs. So they're learning to win at home. With that win, they're now 4-3 at home.
What do you learn? These guys are Markin is like 28 years old. He needs to learn.
No, but Keontae George hit the game winner, and he does. No, Markin
hasn't learned?
He didn't look like he learned when he was celebrating. He looked like he was pretty happy. That wasn't I've been here before moment for him.
So? I mean, that's just a cliche. Learned. You got to learn to.
Yeah.
Come on. Did you play the game? I would expect somebody who got an announcing job who played the game to tell me that. It's like, okay, right here on page 7, say this. Come on, learn. You don't know how to learn to win? You need to learn how to win, and you've already been in the NBA 3 years.
I thought they helped him. I thought the air ball he threw up was off the dribble, and most people are much better catch and shoot, which is how he hit the game winner.
Yeah, but I like the fact that he's not a good three-point shooter, but he still had the courage to take it. He still believes in himself. That's what matters the most to me. Whether that thing went in or not, I mean, you want to have success, I get it. But the fact that he was like 2 for 9 from 3, and he's shooting below 30%, and yet you got Markkanen over here, who's the most unique 7-footer in the history of the game, apparently. And
we heard that.
And George has the stones to take it. That's what I want.
Coming up, your feedback and big money Arizona sports news for PK. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it is time for your feedback. What do you have to say about today's show? BYU blows out TCU to move one game closer to a spot in the Big 12 championship game. Is your faith restored in the Cougars? Dave Osmond. Yes. It was a really impressive win over a very good Big 12 team.
Down by the lazy river, come as you please. It's the Osmonds.
We'll see soon if the College Football Playoff Committee feels the same way, but I am not holding my breath.
I am.
Gecko. I like what they did. However, BYU is lacking what it takes to overcome the Big Ten and SEC bias, which would immediately change if they were part of either of these conferences. Gecko, I have a hard time arguing with that.
Oh, win the games.
Yep. Got to beat Cincinnati. Can't complain yet. You're not to 11-1 yet.
Right.
But they better get to 11-1. Something's got to break their way, right? They'll get some help. And then...
What do you mean? Who?
BYU. And we've been talking about it with Utah, but it could be the same thing with BYU.
Let's go 11-1 and go 12-1. Or 11-1. I mean,
no.
10-1 and then 11-1. You go 12-1, then you got nothing to worry about.
Utah beats Baylor to continue a streak of crushing teams. So the Utes actually going to pull this off. No! The voters will not allow it.
Well, it's the committee, which I guess is a vote. But let's not rule it out.
Chewbacca says Utah will finish 10-2.
Yeah.
Lock emoji.
Yeah.
However, the things that need to happen ahead of them in order to receive an at-large college football playoff bid are dwindling as the season draws to a close. Thanks for nothing, Alabama and Pitt.
Right. And that's what we said, 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
And then there was chaos on the final days.
And then this happened, that happened.
We still have 2 days where chaos could happen.
I can remember literally my wife said, we're watching the Oregon State. Mm-hmm. This isn't going to work. I'm going to go walk the dog. And then all Hades broke loose while she was walking the dog. It's a good thing I didn't have that attitude. I stayed right to the bitter end because I believed in my Utes. I knew that Oregon punter was going to drop the ball at the goal line. And she comes back. I said, you're not going to believe this. I'm going to the Pac-12 championship game, and then we're going to the Rose Bowl. That's exactly what happened. So it's not about faith. It's more about hope and things you can't control. I'd be shocked if they didn't go 10-2. And they have a really good team, and away they go. And if it doesn't happen,
and you're talking about Utah going 10-2.
Yeah.
And BYU on 11-1.
Yeah, I'm talking about. Oh, I don't know about that.
Okay.
I would be shocked if Utah doesn't go 10-2.
10-2.
BYU, I would not be shocked if they lost to Cincinnati.
Mildly surprised.
To some level, I suppose. Yeah. Whatever you want. But I wouldn't use the verb shocked. Utah looks like a lock to go 10-2. This is one of the better teams they've had. And I would love for them to get a shot at Tech again because they got weapons that they hadn't developed or used at that point. Now, see what they can do. That would be fun.
Bray and Ficklin. And Dampier, I don't know that he'll be healthy. He's not healthy now. Yeah.
But if I got these other two guys,
it gives you big play possibilities.
I think he can run around a little bit. We saw it the other day.
Mm-hmm. He can get you 5 yards on 3rd and 3.
Yeah, and that's why their percentage on third downs is off the charts.
Yeah.
Because if it's 4 and under with Dampier, I think he gets it 80% of the time. Nothing is 100, but yeah, that doesn't mean they're going to beat Texas Tech by any means. I would just like to see it.
We're all done. Jake and Ben are coming up next right here on The Zone.